In the summer of 2009, a friend of mine won 2 free airline tickets. As her birthday and mine are 2 days apart, she suggested we go to Alaska for our birthdays. We arrived in Fairbanks on a typical August day. It was about 45 degrees. I was tired from the amount of time spent in the air and the number of times zones crossed, but I was struck that in mid-August, there's broad daylight to almost 10 o'clock at night, followed by around 4 hours of dusk, then the sun comes back up to 2 o'clock in the morning. There are 2 great places to see in Fairbanks. First is Pioneer Park. It's a collection of buildings from when gold was discovered there in the 1890s. A cabin was described as a typical winter home for a prospector. It was 1 room and smaller than this area here. Seeing that, I imagined with 5 feet of snow outside, temperature at 50 below zero, and not seeing the sun for 3 months inside, being stuck in there. After thinking of all that, I greatly appreciated being able to walk around freely outside. The other was the Museum of the North at the University of Alaska. They've got great exhibits of Native Alaskan clothing, hunting weapons, canoes, and many other things. I remember 2 things about the museum the most. The first is a giant stuffed brown bear standing at the entrance to the main exhibit room. The sign said he weighed 900 pounds. His claws, like our fingernails, were bigger than my fingers. If this bear was still alive, not only could he outrun me, but with 1 swipe, I would be dead. They also had a film about living in Alaska. One man they interviewed said he didn't think it got really cold until it hit 70 below zero. I thought, oh, when it's only 40 below, that's when you lay down in your beach shirt and work on your tan. We took the bus from Fairbanks to Denali National Park. Denali alone is worth the trip to Alaska. We rode the shuttle into the park and the road wrapped around many mountains. Off there is a wall of rock so close I thought I could put down the window and touch it with my nose. On the other side it seemed as though the bus's wheels were about an inch away from sliding off the road, and the bus rolling down a descent of about 2,000 feet. We got off the bus at Mount Eielson. It's a small mountain you can climb all on your own. Even though it got colder as I climbed, I was perspiring heavily from the effort. About halfway up, it started snowing hard. I zipped up my coat and put up the hood. I turned and looked out over the valley. The most remarkable thing was the silence. A stream that was about 100 yards away sounded like it was right next to my ear. Looking up, I saw the trail became much steeper and there were several inches of snow. As I was only wearing tennis shoes, I descended. That turned out to be much harder than the ascent. I hadn't realized how steep the trail was, and I had to go down sideways, use my feet as brakes on every step. Everywhere in Denali are signs about what to do if you come across a bear or a moose. To keep bears away, just make noise, like talking loudly. After seeing the King Kong of bears at the museum, I made lots of noise. If you saw a moose, you're advised to keep very quiet and still, as they're extremely unpredictable in their behavior and can outrun any human. A full-grown bull moose can weigh 2,000 pounds. Fortunately, the only moose I saw was eating grass by the side of the road, and I was in a vehicle driving past. The morning we left Denali, we took a short bus ride into the park. It was sunny and clear. At one point we stopped and in the distance was Mount McKinley. The driver estimated it was about 80 miles away. The air was so clear, it seemed as though I could reach out to touch McKinley. We rode the train from Denali down to Anchorage. I was on the platform in between cars taking pictures when they announced we were crossing Hurricane Creek. It's called that because winds passing through there reach hurricane force. They said it was 250 feet to the bottom. I looked and it seemed like it was 250 miles. I immediately went inside and stayed there. Anchorage is a tourist town, so there really isn't much to tell. But let me tell you about something that happened in Fairbanks. While there, my friend was taking a trip to the Arctic Circle. She said, from the pictures on the internet, all they have there is a sign saying the Arctic Circle, a picnic table, and a portable toilet. Want to go? How enchanting. No. I bought a city bus pass. I rode around and stopped off for shopping and lunch. While waiting for the return bus, I struck up a conversation with a man and a woman at the stop. We were talking about how nice out it was when the man asked me, "Are you German?" "Well, you have an accent." You know how in cartoons when a character thinks they have a little thought bubble above their head that shows what they're thinking? Imagine me standing there with this as my thought bubble. And fill in the blanks yourselves. I realized I should have played along with him and said something like, "Was für mich ein Accent? Nein!" I didn't. I thought, I traveled over 5,000 air miles. I crossed 4 time zones. What is my reward for all this effort? I get a close encounter of the third kind with the fool of Fairbanks. Oh, ever ecstatic me. Alaska is a beautiful place. You can see all sorts of wildlife, climb mountains, glaciers, see the northern lights. The possibilities are endless. While there, not only should you be aware of moose and bears, but also watch out for the wildlife at the bus stops.